Good morning, beautiful people. Hope you're having a great day so far. Just finished up with some legs. I'm absolutely loving my new leg days, even with hip thrusts. I'm actually really enjoying them right now because I finally have a fucking machine that is heavy enough. And I know that this is a problem that not a lot of people have, but it is truly devastating to get too strong for your favorite machine. But the Atlantis hip thrust is heavy as fuck. There's still room for me to put probably 4 more plates on there, so I can progress this thing forever. And anyways, I had a great leg day. Hope y'all are having a great day. Let's get into the topic. Today's video, we're going to talk about arguably one of the most important aspects for weight loss. If you don't set this up correctly, you probably will fail. You will fail, I'll guarantee it. You will fail if you don't have this set up correctly. And that is your environment, your surroundings, everything that affects you, the visual cues, everything like that. Basically, you want to set your environment up for success. If you are not in an environment that promotes your goals, you're probably, most likely, definitely going to fail. What do I mean by your environment? I mean everything around you, essentially, the people, the places, the things. So we'll start with your house. You need to get rid of the temptation foods in your house or create barriers to them. If you are, Oreos are the classic example that I use because Oreos are one of the easiest things to just down 1,000 calories and not even think about it. And Oreos, so for instance, if you keep Oreos on your counter, you are 10 times more likely to eat the Oreos than if you put a barrier between yourself and them. And this can be something small. This could literally be just putting them, if they're on the counter normally, put them in a cabinet. Even better, put them in the pantry if you have one. And the best option is put them as far away as possible. Make it such a pain in the ass. Maybe put a bunch of other shit, like healthy snacks, in front of them so that you have to move those out of the way. You have to really put in effort. You just want to make effort barriers around the things that are not as inducive to your goals. I'm not saying that you have to eliminate them. In fact, I don't think that's a good idea at all, because then you create this very dichotomous thinking of, oh, these are good foods, these are bad foods. There's no such thing as good foods and bad foods. There's just foods that are conducive to the goal and foods that aren't. I always like to, I'm a finance bro, so I like to think about everything from a budgeting money perspective. So you have your macros for the day. That's your budget, your daily budget. The amount of calories, protein, fats, and carbs that you can spend. So you have big spends. In this case, an Oreo is a big spend because you're spending a lot of calories on it and you're not really getting a lot of return in terms of satiety, micronutrients, things like that. You are getting a big return in terms of the macros because you're getting a lot of carbs, but it's a big spend. So you can always have big spends in your budget. In fact, everyone has big spends, but you're not going to make a big spend every single day. And if you are making a big spend every single day, that means that you're probably making little spends throughout the rest of the day. So it's just how you want to allocate it and then find the way that works the best for you. So for some people, they love to essentially spend no money, eat nothing in the morning. This is the intermittent fasting. This is why intermittent fasting works, but it doesn't work any better than just any other calorie deficit when you equate them and equate the protein. It's because you essentially just have less time in the day to spend your calories. So you spend them all in one little period. So you essentially restrict your spending throughout the morning, and then you eat and go willy-nilly the rest of the day. This can work for a lot of people. It doesn't for others. So I always say intermittent fasting is never there's nothing special about intermittent fasting. It's just another strategy to get a calorie deficit in, and it works for a lot of people. And anyways, back to your environment. creating barriers between you and these big spends and reducing friction with you and healthy foods. So keep your healthy snacks, like I said, keep a bunch of healthy snacks in front of your unhealthy snacks and make healthy foods available. Meal prep. Everyone hates meal prep, but meal prep doesn't, when they think about meal prep, it's because when people hate it, they think it's because of, they're like, oh, I don't want to make all my meals for the week. You don't have to. Meal prep can be as simple as just chopping up vegetables. You know, your mirepoix, your carrots, your celery, your onions. It could be, and just having those in the fridge. My favorite form of meal prep is what I like to call the Chinese buffet. So you basically just make, it's so easy. It takes no time because you can just do it while you're doing other shit. So get a bunch of chicken or a bunch of sirloins or pork chops, tenderloin, anything, a lean protein source, and season it up, put it on a sheet pan, huck that bitch in the oven or the air fryer, either one, and boom, that's all you gotta do. And then now you just wait till it's done. It'll take you like 5 minutes to season them, maybe, depending on how much you're cooking. And it's completely passive. You just huck that bitch in there and wait. And if you do it in an air fryer, you don't even have to worry about setting a timer and being able to get back to take them out, because it'll just stop the cooking process. It's not like you're gonna forget them in the oven and then they're gonna be burnt to a crisp. I've done that before. And do the same thing with some veggies. Go to Costco, go to Sam's Club, get a fat ass bag of frozen vegetables, do a blend, you know, pick one that you like. If they don't have one, you can go to your HEB has this broccoli stir fry frozen vegetable blend that I've just been loving recently. And I literally will grab multiple bags, lay them out on a sheet tray, throw it in the oven, cook it till it's done. Easy. Put it back in a Tupperware, and then do the same thing with your carb source. So if you have the calories, and you can do rice, you can do quinoa. My favorite is sweet potatoes. I don't even prep my sweet potatoes, because if you have watched my videos before, you know how much of a sweet potato meat rider I am. I love me a sweet potato, and it's so easy because you can literally, I don't prep them because it takes 5 minutes to cook it. Pop that bitch in the microwave. But if you're really, really strapped on time, cut them all up and prep them. You don't even have to do that. You can still do the microwave method and then cut them up once they're done and put it in a Tupperware. So then you have a bunch of just prepped foods that when, you know, if it's, you can either do it the night before or in the morning and take a scoop of your chicken and take a scoop of your veggies and take a scoop of your sweet potato, and now you have lunch for the day. And you can switch it up, you can mix and match. That's why you want to have multiple protein sources, multiple veggies, multiple carbs. And that's the Chinese buffet style, is you grab whatever you want. That's my favorite method. But I know some people, I have some clients that they'll make a full meal they'll make meals for the whole week. They love it. And other clients don't meal prep at all. And you need to pick the one that's conducive to your goals. But meal prepping in some capacity is always going to be beneficial, because you're reducing the friction to eating healthy foods. When you're thinking about your environment, it's how can I increase friction to things that are not conducive to my goals, and how can I decrease friction to things that are. Meal prepping is one of the best ways. Putting unhealthy foods away, even just leaving things out, especially if you're a visual memory person. I have terrible ADHD, and I always have, so my object permanence is essentially 0. So I just leave my meal prep containers on the counter. When I see them, I'm like, oh shit, I got a meal prep today. And that works for me. It's the same thing with everyone always has vegetables that die in the crisper drawer. don't fucking put them in there. You don't have to put vegetables in the crisper drawer because you know you're gonna forget they're there. Put them somewhere where you can see them. And the other thing with setting up your environment is work. Work is one of the worst places that people fall off track, fall off plan. And it's mainly because of how they have their environment set up. They have chips in their desk. Bring a big tub of watermelon. Watermelon is one of the lowest calorie, highest volume foods that you can have. Have that in your work fridge, you know? Keep a bag of beef jerky at your desk. Keep healthy snacks. One thing that you can do, and this sets up your environment for success, but it also just sets you up to get more steps in, is use a smaller water bottle. And so you're gonna have to fill it up more often. And then every time you have to fill it up, you have to get up and walk over to wherever you're filling it up from. And that might not sound like a lot, but it could end up being an extra, 100, 150 calories a day. That's a lot. That adds up. You want to think of it, again, finance, bro. Think of it like compound interest. It's just like how standing desks, standing only burns like an extra maybe 20 calories per hour compared to sitting. So a lot of people will hear that and they'll go, that doesn't fucking matter. But when you're standing, or when you're used to sitting for 8 hours a day, 8 hours a day is an understatement. Most people sit for 12 because they sit for 8 hours a day at work, and they also sit during their commute. And then when they get home, they go sit. They go sit on the couch or they lay down. So they're not spending a lot of time standing. If you can even just bump that up to 5 standing hours, there you go. That's an extra 100 calories. 100 calories over a week, 700 calories. We only need to be 3,500 under our maintenance to lose 1 pound. And so you're a fifth of the way there just from standing more. Now you can see how it kind of adds up and stacks over time. So little things do matter like that. And that's one of the ways that you can set yourself up, is just by having a smaller water bottle, by keeping healthy snacks at your desk, or maybe even just keeping no snacks at your desk and keeping your healthy snacks in the break room or something. Or if you know that work has Pizza Fridays, I'm not saying that you can never go to Pizza Friday. You could, if you can find a way to fit it into your plan, go ahead and have 1 slice or have 2, however many slices you can fit into your plan and keep it sustainable. But for most people, that's gonna be 1 slice because pizza's fairly calorically dense and it doesn't fill you up at all. That's why most people, dudes especially, can hammer an entire pizza to themselves. And that's 2,000 calories, usually lowballing. And so if work has Pizza Friday, don't fucking go to Pizza Friday. You don't have to. Visual cues are huge. You can literally just get hungry by seeing a food that you think looks good. Smelling something that looks good. So just being in vicinity of Pizza Friday at work. If you go to the break room and there's a bunch of pizza around there, literally just seeing and smelling it can make you hungrier. So avoid it. There's no reason that you have to be there. Sensory cues are huge with satiety. Smells, visuals, and even with textures. I've talked about this before, but crunchy foods are more satiating. Hard foods, they have to chew more, are more satiating. Damn. Sorry, a bus just cut a guy off. I almost just witnessed someone die. But what the fuck was I talking about? Sensory cues, crunchy foods, hard foods, anything that makes you chew more. Chewy foods, same effect. So really just think about your environment, think about the environment that you put yourself in every day, and think, what are some ways that I can make this more conducive to my goals? And what are some ways that these aren't conducive to my goals? And think, okay, how can I increase or decrease friction depending on what I want to do? And I've given you some examples, but this is going to be very personalized to you. If you have routines, you're going to have to change them. The price of your new life is your old one. That's what it's going to cost you. Too many people get into dieting and think that it's going to be, or into living healthy, and they think it's going to be a part-time thing. Like they only go in and then as soon as they lose the weight, they can go back to how they were. How the fuck do you think you put the weight on in the first place? Be 100% honest. That's why diets don't work. That's why the literature, everyone puts the weight back on, because they go right back to how they were living. And 9 times out of 10, it's because their diet was too restrictive. And diets do work. It's just you have to be smart. You have to go into it with the mindset of, I'm making a lifestyle change for the better. One thing that really pisses me off that I was talking about with a client earlier this week was, it is more socially acceptable to quit drinking than to quit unhealthy habits. Even though you're more likely to die from being obese than you are from alcohol. You're really likely to die from both of them. But if you tell your friends, yeah, alcohol is just not for me, I've had some bad experiences, or maybe you were an alcoholic in the past and you're like, yeah, I'm quitting drinking, then unless you have shitty friends, they're probably going to be pretty supportive. They're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, good for you, man. I'm glad you're making that step. But on the same note, if you skip Pizza Friday at work, now your coworkers are saying, oh, what, am I fat now? Am I fat? Are you calling me fat because I'm eating it and you're not? And you're at dinner maybe, and people are like, oh, let's get dessert. And you're like, no, I don't really want a dessert. I think I'm going to skip it. They're like, oh, whoa, you don't want dessert now? Oh, okay. Like, it's so stupid that trying to change your life for the better, and it's just reflecting. And that's what really makes me mad about it, is they're just mad that you're making a change that they inherently want to do. No one wants to be obese. No one wants to be overweight. Everyone wants to be healthy, and everyone knows how to do it. It's just no one wants to put in the effort to actually do it. And that's the problem, and that's where they're reflecting, is it's easier to be overweight because it's like I said, no one wants to be. It's easier to be something that no one wants to be if you have people that are around you that are. And that's why the social part is hard. That's another part of your environment, is you might have to change who you're around. I saw an Alex Hormozy quote, and it was that changing the people that you spend time around, like spending less time with people who are not supportive of your goals, is the highest form of self-care. And it really is. You might have to cut some people off. And no one wants to hear that. They're like, I wanted a diet. I didn't want to lose all my friends. But you honestly, are your friends that great if they are like fucking you over? If they're resisting when you're trying to change your life for the better and literally live longer? You're like, I want to spend more time on this earth with the people that I love, with you. If I'm alive more, if I'm not overweight, I can spend more time on this planet hanging out with you. But you would rather that I kill myself slowly with food. So you might have to drop those people. You might have to find new people, and you might not have to drop them completely. You can still see them once in a while, but maybe decrease the amount of time that you're spending with them. Find some new friends. Like birds of a feather really do flock together. Healthy people are more likely to hang out with healthy people. And just statistically, with 75% of the population being overweight or obese, you're most likely just, 3 and 4 people. So anyone you hang around is statistically likely to be overweight or obese. So it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to try really hard. You might have to spend less time with them. Like I said, you might have to find new friends. And that's okay, because like I said, the price of your new life is your old one. Really let that sink in. Because that will be just, if you go in it with the mindset, of, I am just going to do this for a little bit and then I'm going out, you're going to fail. The weight's going to come back on. That's my rant for the day. I kind of got all over the place, but I hope y'all learned something. Peace out. Have a good one.